that wants to tame me. You can't catch me on the run, cause I'm gone, yeah. I blaze trails, set fire to what's behind me. No, I'm never looking back, I'm on the run. I could only ever be what I'm made to be. It feels good when I'm living on the edge. Watch me now, roll like thunder, gonna sacred ground. Can't stop me now, I don't give up and I won't back down. I'm a force of nature, can't be contained. I got lightning running all through my veins. Watch me now, watch me now.
Hi, I'm Wyatt Milam. I'm from Canova, West Virginia. When I'm back home, you'll find me at my local Par-Mar store.
We have that gold and blue pride at your local Par-Mar store. We are coming to your neighborhood soon. West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, we have you covered. Download the Par-Mar app and sign up for the Par-Mar Rewards Card. Food, gas, groceries, and more, we are gold and blue proud, and we are Par-Mar stores.
If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Law offices of Mark Plants and Kevin Davis. First line of defense. Buzzballs, ready-to-drink cocktails. Number one single-serve premix brand in the U.S. Buzzballs, have a ball. Yeah, and have a ball. Buzzballs, yeah, man. All so cool, all so good. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WolfMan's Call. How about a little bit of haul for Thursday, right? How cool is that? Man, I tell you, you know what? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling ready to go. You know why? Probably one of the main things I got my man back, right? I mean, DP, Darryl Prue, is back. I think he took a little bit of a hiatus there in the summertime. I think he was just kind of casually saying, you know, let me see if this football team's any decent before I'm even going to come in and comment on it. I think he's like, you know, I got my work cut out for me with WVU basketball this year. I don't want to overwork myself. I don't want to overstretch it. You know, just got so much going on. And I'll tell you what, I don't blame him whatsoever at all. But it's a good day. We got DP, Darryl Prue's coming in. He's going to react to Josh Eilert's press conference the other day. And I think they're day 2 or 3 practice and getting that team together and figuring out what is what. I think that is going to be the big question. So I can't wait to hear what DP has to say on that. And, of course, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to listen to Neil Brown talk a little bit about TCU. Again, I'll give you the Wolfman's interpretation. DP's more than welcome to stay. And then 5 o'clock hour, 4 o'clock Central Time, we're going to have Steven Johnson from the Fort Worth Star Telegram. He's the TCU Beat Writer. He's an award-winning man, and he knows his football, and he certainly knows his Horned Frog. So you want direct from the pros, I got it for you right here on the Wolfman's Call. Before we get into DP, let me do a little bit of business right now, and that is obviously Wolfman's Call channel right here. You know, YouTube. Hey, listen, man, I want you to go ahead and sign up right here to YouTube at Wolfly64. You hit that scroll bar, you go to YouTube, right? You punch it in, you hit that scroll bar or search bar in there, and you type at Wolfly64. You subscribe to the channel, and you like it, man. You smash that like button because you like me, right? Because I'm the Wolfman, because I try to tell you the truth of what's happening, what's going on, and keep you informed. Again, not the company line, not the idiot line, but the Wolfman line, right? There we go. That's somewhere in the middle, but it's the truth. And the Wolfman's Call, where the call is always part, or the truth is always part of the call. Got that mixed up. Very good. All right, well, let's get real quick here. What's up here with Kelly McCourt? Share it on Facebook. Good job, buddy. How about giving me a retweet of all you out there on Twitter watching? Give me a retweet. There you go. And Timothy Green, how about this? Welcome in, Mountaineer. Let's get ready to beat TCU. All right. I'm going to put that as plural, Mountaineers. Kelly McCourt, Oh, all right, buddy. I'm howling, man. And what else we got here? And welcome in. Let's get ready to be. Did I already hit that button? Man, I'll tell you what, I'm getting slow. Happy Thursday to the man. Who's the man? Oh, Dale, you're the man. Oh, I wrote that on purpose. I didn't even let DP get out here so that I could absorb all that attention right there. Because as soon as I get on, you guys are going to be like, hey, what's up, DP? How you doing, brother? You're the best. You're the greatest, right? Yeah, I know it. But anyways, with all that being said, so happy, so fired up. And let's go ahead and bring him on here right now. Darryl Prue, WVU Hall of Fame Hooper, and he's ready to roll. What's up, DP?
What's up, Dale? How you doing, man?
I don't know. How'd you like that intro? I mean, I knew I was getting some love there, so I wanted to keep you off for a minute, just because when you crowd in my space, you know what I mean. It's like wait for me. Okay, and even though you're a regular on the show, when it comes to basketball, you kind of take over the show. All that being said, you are taking away from me because right here it says, Dale, you are the man. By the way, Mike, to you, Wolf, you are the man. Oh my gosh, I'm on fire today, am I not? Oh, all right, here you go, right off the bat. Happy Thursday, DP. Yes, there you go. I mean, it's like clockwork around here with these folks. But anyways,
Mike Valens just busted your balloon already, huh?
They're unmerciful, man. They are. Well, what's been happening with you, man? Before we get going, what's going on? Why have you been avoiding the Monday shows from the panel?
Nah, last couple of weeks, I got it. I have this little workout plan I do. School started. We had some back to school nights. I got a couple of kids I work out. I have a 6'10", 6'11" kid that's here. He's a junior this year. And another 6'5" kid out in Virginia that I work out. So I've been kind of busy with that.
Okay.
Before their preseason workouts.
You got anybody good for us there that we're supposed to be recruiting? Because we'll tell them no. We'll tell them no.
Yeah. Oh, I have a kid that's everybody has offered except for West Virginia.
Come on, man. Are you making this up?
No, I'm serious. I'm waiting for him to offer. Wait for him to call me. I'm like, Eric Riebel. He's from Europe. I told you he came over in January.
6'10" kid, right?
6'10", 6'11". Yeah, and his father was in town a couple of weeks ago. We was working out. Everybody's in offer. This kid's good. I mean, he's gonna be really good too.
So what's the deal? Who do we got to contact? Do we contact Josh Eilert? Who do we do we contact
I'll contact DeMar. I know DeMar, this is his area, but him or Deshaun, I'll call both of them.
All right.
And they need to hop on it, So
well, I'll tell you what, I think they should, man. I mean, you don't want to lose out. How many guys has WVU missed out on in your time down there? Oh, let's say since you've left Georgetown, and how many guys?
Man, at least one or two a year.
At least one or two a year.
Yeah. There was a kid that played at Penn State that wanted to come to West Virginia. They kind of dropped the ball. There was another kid that went to Wisconsin. It might have been a bit of a stretch. They never really recruited Hunter Dickerson. They didn't recruit Luka Garza. They didn't think he was athletic enough. It's been a few. Everybody miss out sometimes, but
sure. That's normal. Right?
But like the kid that went to I can't think of his name right now, went to Penn State. He wanted to go to West. He was up there for an unofficial, and I was there in West Virginia, Morgantown. And then, he played for TACO, was one of the AAU's organizations I coached with. And he told me him and his father, they wanted to be there. He was a Huggins kind of guy, tough guy. He played hard defense, could shoot it a little bit. But he ended up going to Penn State and having a pretty good career.
Well, what about the 6'10", 11" kid that you got now? What's his strengths right now? So I could go ahead and at least know exactly what he's got there. So if they ask me, I mean, Jay Coos may call me up and ask me. He's like, Wolfman, what's going on, buddy? Who's this 6'11" kid that Dean's talking about?
Yeah, he's 6'11", can shoot threes. He's playing down low. I'm working with his post game. He has a good feel for the game. He's young, but he's been playing with pros since he's been 13. He's from Switzerland. His father is Swiss, So he moved away from home at 13 to go play with a club team. And the club team, of course, has, American pros. And when you work him out, he works out like a pro. He plays for, what's the Adidas team here? Oh, gosh. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. But he plays for the Adidas team here, 16s this past year. He'll play 17s next year. He might be trying to go with the Nike team next year because he want to play in the EYBL. So we got to see about that. But it's like four of us that has a tight grip on him because we didn't want just anybody him going with anybody. So his father has a guy named Rodney Rice that played at St. John's in Richmond back in the days. His son went to DeMatha, and his son currently is with Virginia Tech. He was a good player. I don't think they got on. And another guy named Darren McClinton. He works out all the NBA players. He works out the Grant kids in the NBA. He also works out Hunter and Luca when I can't go out of town. So he's a guard guy. But we have our hands on him, and we're trying to keep our hands on him because he played for this team called Bullets here.
Yeah.
And IMG came in the summertime and tried to swoop him away.
Oh.
I mean, they was like, IMG down in Florida. Yeah, they try to swoop him away. And it's like, oh, you ain't got to pay for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, come on down here and play with us. That's how good he is. You know what I mean? So, he's going to be pretty good. He got to play a little harder, just like high school kids need to. Sometimes Europeans got to play a little harder, but I think he'll get it.
What is he, 16, you said?
He's 6'10", 6'11". Yeah.
No, but 16?
Yep.
You said he's 16 years old?
Yeah, he was 16 when he first came over, so I don't know when was his birthday. He still might be 16, 17. Yeah.
Okay, so he's 16, 17. He's got to figure out playing a little bit harder. But, I mean, my gosh, you
16 and 17, like, yeah, that's everybody.
and how many offers would you say he has right now?
About 25.
About 25 offers. And this is a guy that you are directly working as a big.
Personally, yep. I have a personal relationship with him, father, and everybody else that works with him.
Okay. Where's the bat signal? All right. For the WolfMan's studio, it's not the bat signal. It's the wolf signal, right? Hey, Josh Eilert. Woo! Hey, by the way, there he is right there. So we're ready to go. All right. So you listened to his, his presser. Really the first one, and probably the last 3 months since he's gotten the job. And I think, anyways, and let's correct me if I'm wrong, what was your overall take of the 42 minutes?
Ooh, it was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
You would like for more positivity to come out of it. He talked about a few players here and there, but then at the end, he ended it for me, it was kind of negative towards the team.
You think negative? Do you think that's just a little bit of his youth at being a head coach, or being that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, but I think it has a lot to do with, if we remember, the coaching staff or Hugs and a lot of press conferences after games were talk bad about the players. It's the players' fault. If the players did this, didn't do that, didn't do this and do that. And I think some of that's carrying over to Josh, because the question was asked, do you think you have the talent for the Big 12? And he clearly skated around it. It was re-asked again. And then he tried to clean it up the second time, but you can't recruit all them guys and say you don't have the talent for it.
Mm-hmm.
The Big 12.
There's no denying. I have said from the very beginning that I thought there was two great experiments in college athletics. One in football with Deion Sanders, and the other with Josh Eilert at WVU, meaning the fact that he's coached only 2 years. He was a film guy for many years before he was the what do you call it? I'm sorry, the team organizer. He managed the team, and not even evaluation, not even personnel. He was the guy that was the team manager. So 2 years of coaching, maybe, and the great experiment is, can he be successful? And can he take those 2 years that he's had, although he's played basketball all his life, he's been around it all his time as an older guy, but then he goes ahead and he gets guys that have lack in experience as coaches. And if you added them all up, I don't think you get over 10 years together. Jordan McCabe, I mean, to me is, you know what, it was funny because I remember he left because he wouldn't pass the ball. And now they're talking about him being the guy to work for, right? I mean, am I wrong here? I mean, it's like he wanted to dribble.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's like I like what he said that he talked to Deshaun about the spacing in the offense.
Yes,
you know, Deshaun did play for Beeline also, so it's like, you know, everybody else played for Huggy. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, like what often, like everything's going to be the same defensively, but everything going to be the same offensively. I don't think it was no creativity on the offensive end in the years, you know, since Deshaun and Kevin Jones left. You know what I mean? And you know, so is it going to be the same? You know what I mean? Like, is you going to bring in something different? You know, when I met Alex Raouf this summer, I thought he had a great mind for basketball. You know, when we did the little TBT thing, some of the things he was saying, you just sit back and let people talk and listen. I thought he had a great mind. You know what I mean? Like, but again, those guys are young. You know what I mean? Like, you could have a great mind, but you might not know something else. You might not.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm saying.
You know what I mean? It's like
it's youth, man.
Yeah, you know, even like when I coached in high school, I wanted other good coaches to coach with me. You know, I didn't pick anybody. I wanted other people. And I wanted them to give me their opinion, their honest opinion, without worrying about what I thought. You know, I thought John Thompson III for me was great because, you know, he'll listen to everybody's opinion, and he'll, you know, formulate what he needed to formulate, but he would listen to everybody, and, you know, he gave everybody a chance. And I don't think that happens with a lot of these college guys because they're so stubborn and about their, you know, they've been winning and they're stubborn and, you know, they want all the praise. But it was good to see him to say he talked to Deshaun. Why didn't you talk to DeMar? He was there longer. You know what I mean? Why didn't talk? You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, it's I worry. You know, I worry.
Yes.
You know,
I worry.
Is great. Yeah, Dickey's probably great because he's going to beat out objective mind. But, you know, sometimes it's not enough just to have one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think you need a couple.
Well, I think you get, you know, I mean, you know, all right. I just think it was a mistake to let Ron Everhart go into community relations at 40 plus years of coaching. So just saying, all right, you're going to go that way. You're going to do this. Let's listen to Josh. Let's give him a fair shot here at a couple things. I couldn't do all 40 minutes because, you know what? I don't want to be there snoring for everybody. All right, because it was pretty bland, but maybe he's doing that on purpose. But here we go. Let's roll it.
For you, what have they been like? You start with the re-recruiting of the old players, the new recruiting. How did all that go?
It's a balancing act. I think I spoke about it several times with numerous amount of media folk. I mean, you certainly didn't want to bring somebody into your roster, and especially with you know, you're trying to build a foundation, right? And you got a certain amount of kids you think you can rely on that's going to stick around, but you never know bringing someone in during that 30-day period. Well, whether they're going to, you know, upset the boat and rock the boat a little bit with somebody you already have on the roster. So it was a very delicate situation. First and foremost, I wanted to figure out who was all in, and I wanted to back them and let them know that they're part of the foundation moving forward. And then slowly but surely, as those 30 days, you know, came to a close, we could start moving forward and putting those other pieces together and bring those pieces in.
What's your take on that?
I don't think he said anything that was relevant to anything. I mean, like, you know, you talk about that 30-day period. You bring in big fella. You ain't think the other three fellas was going to leave? You know what I mean? Like, or, you know what I mean? Because they brought him in early. So was it because they left because you brought him in, or they left because they announced the wrong candidate for the job? Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Like, they stuck around until Huggy got fired. Mm-hmm. Then they stuck around that week until they named the person who's going to replace him. You know what I mean? And then all the bigs left. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's, you know, who did they bring in? That he was the only one I thought you brought in that was you already had 2 or 3 people that was already at that position. You know what I mean? You had 2 centers. You had Wagyu.
Yeah.
You had what's the Aquinawa, the other big guy. Yeah, I mean those 2 guys that was pretty good contributors this year. So one of them thought they was going to start, or both of them was going to start, depending on their development. You know what I mean? Then you bring in somebody else and say, hey, they still stayed. Maybe someone, talked to him, and he said something about re-recruiting. You don't re-recruit. You take care of them while they're there, so they won't leave. And if they do leave, you're not surprised, and you can recruit, as they're, deciding on that they're leaving or not. You don't wait to oh man, they left. You should have known they was leaving. You should have known they wasn't unhappy. You should have known something was up. You know what I mean? Like that's the relationship building part. As assistant coach, if you don't have relationship with those guys, they're not going to say nothing to you. You know what I mean? There's guys they probably already told that to on that team, and usually somebody tells a coach. You know what I mean? Like so a coach will talk to them. You know what I mean? So what you're thinking. Like even with I had Greg Monroe. So Greg Monroe was deciding he about to put his name in the draft. So Coach Thompson asked me to take him out and have a conversation with him. So during the conversation, I'm like, the first thing I said to him, I said, look, you're going to be good if you go. You're going to be good if you stay. Either way. I said, yeah, we're going to be selfish and want you to stay, but, what's going on. So he opened up, started talking, telling me what's going on. Family needed some help. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, we're fine with it. We just need, I told him, we just need to know so we know how to move forward. Those are the kind of conversations you got to have. You know what I mean? Just be open and talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's just being grown. Okay. There's no beating around the bush.
All right, there we go. Number 2.
The transfer pieces, do you feel, and a freshman too, so how did you feel good about what you got? What were you looking for, I guess?
I mean, we were backed up against the wall in a lot of ways because, the majority of schools out there, they might have 1 scholarship left, 2 at most that late in the summer, and we had 5, 6, 7 spots to fill. So we were backed against the wall and had to kind of get creative in which direction we went recruiting wise to figure out how we can best piece this roster together and put a competitive product out there so we can compete in the Big 12.
Yeah. All right, so he's saying that, everybody else had 1 spot open. We have 6 or 7, but I think after he got announced, 3 of them executed it out, or vacated, not executed, vacated.
Oh, yeah, it was 4, right?
Yeah, I mean, which is, he can't help that if they go ahead and decide that, but at the same time, shouldn't this be known beforehand that these guys were going to take off and you're going to lose? Well, how many bigs? They lost 3 bigs minimum, right?
Yeah, they lost very good one. Trey Mitchell, you know what I mean? Like you lost 17 points a game and 9, 10 rebounds a game right there, like off the bat. Then you lose, O'Connell, who was your energy guy coming off the bench, and big Wagyu, who, went to Alabama. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, the big kid coming in is pretty good. That's a pretty good, it's a wild get, you know what I mean? But like, you talk about you don't want to disrupt your team, but that disrupt the team. You know what I mean? But then not knowing those guys was going to leave is, you know what I mean? That worries me. In all the other positions, you know what I mean? It's like, woo, you know what I mean? Like, is it put together the right way? And, are the guys talented enough to play in the Big 12, or they're just a bunch of good players at lower levels?
Well, let's get to this next one because what I did is I actually cut up the presser so that I moved some questions forward here. So let's get into some of the other stuff.
Along the same lines, the way everybody's kind of fixated upon the portal and the work you guys have done, but you grabbed freshmen for this year, but also some of the, I know you can't talk specifically about some of the future recruiting you're doing. That's what somebody's going to be here for a while probably plans to do too. Is that integral for?
Yeah, I think anybody be doing themselves a disservice if they didn't look at the macro side of things. I mean, I'm put in place to be a leader of West Virginia basketball, so I'm going to do what's best for West Virginia basketball. That's first and foremost. So I'm not going to leave if things go south with Josh Eilert here at the helm, I want it to be put West Virginia in the best place possible. So, yeah, I'm going to recruit for the future. And, there's a couple pieces on the rosters now that, Noah can't play this year, but he's going to help us every day.
Is that true? Because he's got a job of 10 months as an interim, and he knows he has to win to make a difference to keep him there. Obviously, I'm not going to call him a liar or nothing. I'm not saying that, but he's got to recruit for now. He's got to recruit. You can't, unless you just say, hey, I'm going to take this and I'm going to use it for my jumping to somewhere else. A land, a platform to jump and land somewhere else.
Right. I mean, I think he had the right mindset with that. I think, like I said it before, you got to go get some young guys. You know what I mean? Like all these old guys, you know what I mean? And you got to show the development of them. If they start developing and playing well, you never know. It might spark, interest of keeping them another year to see how it goes, But he's put in a tough situation. It's like, let's not, you start recruiting in June and July, you lose all those guys and try to replace top guys. And, it's like, he said it in the press conference also, that was tough. There was no precedent for it. But sometimes you just got to, think outside the box also, getting them older guys and getting some good young guys in the mix, I think keeps the team healthy.
Alrighty.
Kind of playing catch up here. A lot of the guys, you didn't really have the opportunity to have open gym. A lot of your guys were either playing overseas or doing things. How do you catch up to get to where you need to be?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that right off the bat, when school started and we certainly didn't even have 13 guys when school initially started. We were still waiting on Jesse and a cook came in late. So, if you had one guy banged up, you barely had 10 to go. So as soon as we got 10, on campus and could operate, a good practice 5-on-5, that's what we did.
It's strange because you have to have, barely have 10. And what do you want to get up to, 13? A scholarship, is that it?
Yeah.
It's 13 scholarships, right? And how do you go ahead and give those scholarships out when you probably don't have enough people out there that deserve a Power 5 scholarship?
Yeah, I think you got to get some walk-ons. You know what I mean? Some decent walk-ons, some preferred walk-ons. DJ, he still likes to play. McCabe's still young enough to play, even though they're not supposed to be playing. Roof is, could play a little bit in the pickup ball. You know what I mean? So you can get a lot of that. Hopefully some of the guys are still in town. They ain't go overseas yet. There's a lot of pickup ball. In DC, what we used to do, a lot of the Wizards and pros would, before they would go, they would come over to play pickup ball. It's a lot of pickup ball. You could do a lot of structured stuff, but sometimes you just want them guys that play pickup ball and just let them, get a feel for each other, then throw some structure in a couple of days a week. So we used to play Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. And, so just to give them guys a chance to play with each other. Sometimes if a guy's really good, we put him on a team that's, young and make them try to win, just to learn how to win and stuff like that. It's just all structure doesn't mean you're getting a feel for each other,
Mm-hmm. All right.
To do well.
We're really good. Our offense is really coming along. Defensively, I every time I sit in a staff meeting, we drill defense and we drill defense and we drill defense, and I worry that every time we get to 5-on-5, we probably don't do as good a job of carrying all those things over. So that's probably my biggest concern, carrying some of those things over, and because you look at these rosters, it's such a revolving door. So all these guys have their, I think we got 4 fifth-year guys. They've all come from different defensive backgrounds. So trying to figure that out and think it's going to happen right away, it's not.
Okay, good point. It's not, because we saw that with Bob Huggins and everything. So getting into jail. What's he saying here now? Is that, listen, you just got to need time? Is that what it is? You just got to practice this fall and hopefully you get a gel in there? You got 4 fifth-year guys. At least you got fifth-year guys.
Yeah, but that's what they were doing all last year. Remember, try to jail the first 2 months, So it's like sometimes as a coach, you got to not be stubborn. If you know these guys' strengths, sometimes you gotta adapt to their strengths instead of worry about what you know how to teach. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta reteach stuff because I think, just like the kid from Syracuse, all he did was playing zone. All right, so throw some zone in there. He might help you out with some stuff. You know what I mean? Because if he's better a zone guy, if he's one of your best players that you're paying almost $1 million to, make it work around him a little bit. Because you definitely said the backup guy, you might throw him in a game every once in a while. He's 7 foot tall, so he might not be a man guy either. But you got to be able to. I thought Huggy was his best when I was at Georgetown. And when he mixed the defenses up, he used to do that 1-3-1. He played out hard man, get you. These guys not playing hard man to man no more. You might have to throw some junk out there, just to throw teams off. So
change up, right? Change up.
Yeah, just change up. Just like in football, can't have the same lineup every time because they'll exploit it. So you give teams other things to try to scout, and that's a lot of work.
No doubt.
Jesse sat in a zone and 2-3 zone at Syracuse for 4 years. So, and like I talked about earlier, we don't have a whole lot of depth there at the 5. So, one of my main focuses is trying to keep him out of foul trouble.
Oh well, that would be go play zone.
Yeah,
I mean, right? And man, if you're really going man, if you don't have depth, you're gonna that guy's gonna be worn out by 3/4 of the season.
Yeah. Well, so you're saying Jesse's gonna play the whole game? You know what I mean? Like that's 40 minutes a game. You know what I mean? Like so, it's that's my point about you're not giving other guys confidence. Because you just said Jesse's playing. I need him to play 40 minutes a game. He can't get in foul trouble. Because the part of the game is some games he might get in foul trouble, and some games he's not. If he plays zone man or whatever, now he just got to adjust. It's probably the best thing for Jesse to play man more because when he goes to the league, if he's that good overseas, he's gonna have to play man.
Yeah.
So it's just an adjustment, but I don't think it takes 7 months to adjust to play man-to-man defense.
Well, not if you got the desire, right?
Exactly.
Offensively, I think we're really getting there. Each and every day we're making progress, and now that I got a little more time to work with them every day and can slow things down with myself and the assistants, I think we're going to get there. But we're excited about that, and we're trying to play as fast as we can. Really push the ball and put the playmakers, get the playmakers involved, and keep Kerr in a decision-making mode because he's a pass-first guy and he's going to get everybody involved. So that's exciting. That's exciting to me. But yeah, I have my concerns on the defensive end. But we're day 2 of practice today. So
okay, so I get it. Is this nothing more than travel ball? I mean, do you feel like we're coming together and you got a bunch of players out there and just put it together? And I don't know, man. I mean, what is their offense? I don't understand what he's talking about. Maybe you do.
Well, it goes back. He's been 15 years in this same offense. In the last 5 years, the offense has been what, Dale? Stale.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's been very stale. So you get a guy, you tell him, Kerr is a good passer. You didn't say something such was a good shooter. You didn't say such was a good scorer. You know what I mean? Like, it was a question asked that, what kind of offensive system you're going to run. Yeah, he didn't answer the question. You know what I mean? Or we just going to push the ball up court. Well, you can't push the ball up court all the time and just get easy buckets. You know what I mean? Unless you're going to shoot early in transition. Sometimes those are a lot of bad shots. So what you going to do when you need a bucket? You know what I mean? Like what you're going to do, get the flow of the game. What you're going to do, control the tempo of the game on the offensive end. And, you go back to defense and, you worry about the defense. So is the defense that bad and the offense is scoring that good in these little 2 workouts? Or, you know what I mean? It's just no defense at all. You're just getting the rebound and pushing it out. Or you hoping because he said something about offensive rebound. There's a guy that's been offensive rebound because a lot of misses. And, it's like, that was part of it. It's like part of your offense is offensive rebounding. That should be secondary or third.
All right, I'm going to hold that question here. Let's go ahead and the next one.
What about this specifically offensive? Do you want to spread the floor, or what's your philosophy in terms of offense?
Well, my philosophy is Deshaun Butler and I sat down from day one, and he's been a great influence on myself, and he's spent time in the NBA. So we've done a lot of things with our spacing and keeping corners filled and keeping the ball in the right hands. And we've put in a lot of sets so far. Now we're looking at trying to put in some continuity so they can flow in out of the sets into the continuity. And like I said, it's not the prettiest thing right now, but hopefully in a month's time it'll be a well-oiled machine.
Now, I hear what he's saying, and I get it. But see, here's what the first thing he does is what he's saying, what's your offensive philosophy? Well, the Deshaun's. Okay. Am I wrong when I'm saying that? So what I'm saying is I'm the head coach, but again, I'm not ripping on Josh, but what I'm saying is you're alluding to the fact that your buck doesn't stop here with you. Oh, okay? This is a young coach that has to go ahead and have authority. Have authority, man. And the first thing you say is, well, I got with Deshaun, and he was in the NBA. I don't think that's a good vibe, man. I don't think that's a good message to be sending out, not only to your team, but to your other coaches.
Yeah, Deshaun was what? In the G League, right? He was coaching the G League. DeMar Johnson played 8 years in the NBA. You don't mention him about spacing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you say the guys fill the corner. So to me, it's going to be a lot of screen and rolls. So it's going to be a lot of screen and rolls. So the guy Kerr, there's going to be side screen and rolls and middle screen and rolls. So then you say continuity after that. Is it continuity? You know what I mean? I haven't seen continuity out of pick and rolls unless there's a lot of side screens, back screens, down screens. It sounds like the kid Kerr is not shooting the ball from the press conference, and he's more of a facilitator, which is not bad, but you got guys that got to finish at the rim and shoot jumpers in the corner.
No, I don't think he's any Marquise from Kansas State.
Right. But Marquise had that other animal beside him, too.
Yeah. No, I know, man. I'm just laughing because I hang up on Marquise.
Yeah, we both love Marquise.
Hey, best player I've seen in 10 years, man. Best player I've seen in 10 years. I'm telling you, there's no doubt about it. Okay, so, again, I don't want to sit there and do nothing but constructive criticism here. So I'm thinking about this as a head coach. He's got to start taking that authority where, listen, if I'm going to go and I'm going to start swinging, I'm going to swing on what I'm going to swing on. Do you know what I'm saying? Is when he starts to defer because he's being a nice guy, he's trying to give Deshaun some credit. Say, listen, man, no, I need some people that's going to support me. I'm the captain. I'm the coach. I need some foot soldiers that are going to support me. Some, pawns. I'm the king. Whatever you want to, however you want to put it. You have to support me, and I have to act like. That's what Bob Huggins did. It was all there. When did you ever talk to an assistant coach in basketball? When did they ever get interviewed?
Yeah. So like when he asked the question, he stopped, paused, and didn't have an answer for the question. Mm-hmm. Let's be real. He didn't have. It's not. I'm not trying to bash Josh. He didn't have an answer. What's your offensive philosophy? He said, now, me and Deshaun talked about it this summer about spacing, yada, yada, yada. He coached in the NBA. You're right. You gotta, you gotta have something. If he was more experienced, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a free flowing offense, a lot of motion, boom, boom, boom. He didn't say that.
Multiple sets.
Multiple sets. Yeah. I might change it to adapt it to my, to the players we have, and it depends what kind of players I have and when I see them in the workouts. Didn't say none of that. Yeah, he clearly did not answer the question.
Yeah, I think it's he's just sitting there and he hasn't done this very often, and maybe he had something in his mind of what he wanted to say, but it came out. I mean, all right, let's do one or two more of this and. Stop
too far. Give me a look at individually what each of them has done so far.
Who you want to start with?
Front court.
Jesse, like I said earlier, he's certainly going to have his challenges trying to figure out how he transitions from 2-3 zone mentality to man-to-man mentality, and we're doing some different things ball screen coverage wise to protect that. And not get him and put him in positions where he's going to be in foul trouble. But he's as long a rim runner out of a pick and roll as we've ever had. So those guys that handle the ball and can throw that up to him, I mean, it's gonna be easy to rack up some assists with him. Putting that pressure on the rim, but also you put guys around him like Raekwon and Seth that can make shots. I mean, all that help's going to have to sag back in with Jesse and open up all those shots on the perimeter.
How do you stop the pick and roll?
Zone.
Zone?
Zone. Go to a zone, or I trap the ball really hard. Because, or I go under the screen. If Kerr is not shooting the jump shot, I go under the screen and meet him on the other side. It's just, you talk about we have a big, all he does is set screens and run to the rim and get lobs. That's how many points a game he gonna get? He gonna get 15 points a game getting lobs?
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. How hard is it to stop that?
To him, Yeah. So,
somebody say, listen, I want you to just line up against him and don't let him penetrate past you after, even if you guys take 5 fouls. I mean, right? I mean, because I got somebody else that's going to be a goon. I mean, how do you stop a skilled guy down below? You need some goons, right? I mean, and that's what you had. Right. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, how do you take as good as Jesse is, that is, okay, as a Jesse Edwards, right? As good as he is, and you go ahead and you lose the other 3 dudes. All right, we're talking about Okonkwo, and you're talking about the other guy with the
Wagoo.
Yeah. So you lose all that. How can you justify 1 for the 3? You can't. I mean, I'm not saying justify if they go, they go. You can't help that. But you can't make up for that with the 3 are there. You could put all 3 out on the court together, and you would have some dudes out there. This guy Jesse, and now you're saying he's got to transition to man. Like, I mean, you're not. Yeah. You're not. I always want to use my players' strengths. All right. If I got Garrett Green, I am not dropping back in the pocket all the time and having him as a pocket passer. I'm moving him all over the place to throw the ball and using his legs when his assets are, right? That's what I would do. And I would do that with any sport, with any talent. If there's a specific talent going in one direction, I would go ahead and try to focus on that instead of saying, you're going to play in my system. How about if I make my system more built around what you know? Because you're only here for a year.
Right. But think about this, though.
Am I wrong?
Yeah. Think about this. Everything he said is what they can't do. You know what I mean? It's like what they can't do. Everybody has weaknesses. We all, as players, former players, we all had our weaknesses. Calais never focused on what I couldn't do. You know what I mean? Sherman Douglas, his coach didn't focus on what he couldn't do. Danny Furr, nobody focused what he couldn't do. Deshaun Butler, what he couldn't do. You know what I mean? It's like, what can this kid do? You maximize what he can do, and you help him get better with the other things. You know what I mean? Like, you don't keep on saying what they can't do. He can't do this. He can't do that. He can't do this. He can't do that. We've been hearing that for the last 3-4 years from this program. And players got tired of hearing that stuff. You know what I mean? They got tired of hearing that stuff. So when you think somebody's going to go run through that door for you, when you go to the press and you turn around the crowd and telling them, I told them they don't know what they're doing, they don't listen. No, you don't do that. You don't go to the media and say what they can't do. It's on me. I got to fix it. As a coach, I got to fix it. I got to find a way to make them do it. You know what I mean? If it's running, if it's talking to them, it's showing them over again. You know, I got to figure out a way to get them up to speed. I got to set the standard so high that they keep trying to get it. You know what I mean? So it's like, we've got to stop saying he can't do this, he can't do this. You keep talking about 1 or 2 players, and we're not talking about everybody else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What else can Wilson do besides hit an open 3 sometimes?
Well, can he play man defense?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
All right. Okay. That's
I want everybody to know Dale Wolf is getting me banned from all the basketball games at West Virginia University this year.
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you what, this is out of here. We're done with Josh for right now. But what I really wanted to get at here, Dave, was there's got to be something to the point of we talk about experience, and they say experience is not a problem. They said that experience here in this situation is not a problem. That Josh was the best for this situation, and because it's an interim, it's so late, or why they went down. And this is what you have, though, is you have people like yourself that have coached that are saying, you're not telling us the full story, or maybe it's because of his inexperience that he's not telling it. It's not that he's trying to hide it, not that he's go negative. Maybe he doesn't understand. Like, let's just say Deion Sanders, what does he do? He empowers his people. He tells you, I believe in you to go out there and go do that. And he tells that to the press. And he tells that to everybody who will listen. He'll stand on a gosh dang mountain and yell it out until everybody's done and tired of listening to him. But he doesn't talk about their negativities. And let that be. I thought the same thing. I'm going to be honest with you, because this show is about the truth. And so when we're talking about, don't think that we're hating on Josh. We're not. But we are understanding that he's got shortcomings in experience. And this is what we talk about. There's no experience, and when
so it goes back to this too, and there's a lot. It happens a lot, especially in college basketball. So he's been with Huggy for what, 15, 17 years, coaching and playing, right? So who are you going to model yourself after as a coach? Huggy. That's all you know. So all the things he's saying and how he's saying it is kind of what Huggy would say in certain ways. So is there anybody in that office that would go against Huggy? The one that would go against him, they got rid of him in January. You know what I mean? So, it was. I remember this before we went to the Final Four at Georgetown. We was in a coaches meeting, and at the time I was like the video coordinator / ops guy. Mm-hmm. So the assistant coach, the top assistant coach, said, we need to bench Roy Hibbert and play smaller in the Big East back in 06 and 07. I said, no, you lost your mind. I said, we're 7'2", 6'9", and 6'9". I said, we got to play to that strength.
Yeah.
And then the jump shots will be open. Me and the guy got along great. You know what I mean? It's just a difference of opinion. Doesn't mean I didn't respect his opinion. Didn't mean I didn't like his opinion. I didn't agree with it. You know what I mean? And me being correct or not correct, it was the right thing to do for that team.
Yeah.
Roy Hibbert became an NBA player because of that season, because he kept getting better. That's what you got to empower these kids. You got to see what they're good at. You got to say, oh man, Jesse does a good job of blocking shots. He didn't say anything positive about the guy. He said a positive thing about one player. That's the player I guess he has a waiver. He's trying to get the kid battle. And what he said in a press conference is he was saying how athletic he is and how that translates to the Big 12. He didn't, he said something good about Kerr. He's a good facilitator, but we begging him to shoot the ball more. Why are you telling people that now in September? You know what I mean? Why are you telling people that? That's on a scout report. If somebody hears that, they're going to look for it and they're going to write it down early. So when you're playing these early games, they might not guard them. So, it's certain tricks to this game where, you know what I mean? Like you can't reveal all your information and tell everybody everything because it'll turn around and backfire on you.
Would that be something like holding it close to your vest?
Exactly.
We had the same terminology.
Exactly.
This game it's a chess game as well, being as you got to make moves and you got to play all of your moves and you have to go ahead and, you don't have to be an open well of information. You don't have
right.
You can close some things off, and I think, but again, all I'm trying to
you can lie in the court of law in basketball. and still be good.
Oh my gosh! But none of the WolfMan's call. All right, you can't do it. You can't lie here because we just tell the truth, man. And
I said the court of law of basketball. The court of law of WolfMan's call.
Two things. I'm going to leave it at this, and I'm just going to leave it, and you can tell me, and I'm going to let you just cap it off because this is your court, baby. This is your court. All right. Number one, though, is his lack of experience is showing right off the bat. His lack of experience to me. Is it not? When you see that, does he really have control? When you say, well, what's your offensive philosophy? All those things, telling too much here, revealing something here. To me, that is not cool. Somebody, hey, Ren, get your guy Dickey in there and coach him up on press conference. Press conferences are as important as practices. All right, they're as important. And how you're the face of the program now. You're the face of the program, and what you're saying in there, you need to get that. When he sits there, he didn't have a philosophy. He didn't have a philosophy at all.
Yeah, he's there's a lot of experience, and like, you know, I've been around different people with different situations, and you know, been through a lot. He just stayed in his, you know, he's in Kansas State and Morgantown. You know what I mean? Under the same person, so you don't get a chance to, you know, get out and recruit and do this. You know, I've been with a couple of coaches that, you know, like Todd Bozeman, you know, he was at, you know, God bless him. His son just got killed a couple of days ago in DC. You know, he went through a situation out in California, you know, going through the NCAA stuff. You know, you have him, I have Pallet, I have, you know, I know a lot of people in the league. I know a lot of old coaches. You know, I would have been, you know, he mentioned a couple of coaches, you know, I would, you know, I'm percent, you know, it's the first time for this, you know what I mean? But, you know, when you name drop and you talk to Coach Terry from Texas, and you talk to the guy from somewhere, I think it was Kansas State, and before he took over the job, they took over in the middle of the season. You know, when you starting fresh, you got a kind of advantage. You know what I mean? You going in the middle of the season, you know, you got to keep on doing what that coach did, and, you know, and add on to it. You know, now you got to start fresh from what you want to do. Do you have a philosophy, like you just said, offensive or defensive? Are you going to keep Coach Huggins' defensive philosophy and the same offensive philosophy? He probably is, just can't say it right now.
He did say he's going all man.
Yeah, that's what he's been doing. That's what Hugs did. So, but you know, you can't say I talked to Hug about what offensive philosophy we're going to use, because you know right now that's an omen right now. You can't do that in Morgantown. And so, you know, it's like, you got Dickey in here. Is he giving y'all different offensive philosophy? What is it? Free? Like we said, we don't know what philosophy. Your defensive philosophy is man. Okay, it's always been man. Everybody plays man. What kind of man are you going to do? You know, offensively was the question that was asked. Nobody can answer that question. You know what I mean? And you push it off on Deshaun, and what y'all talked about, which is cool that you're bringing up your other assistants in the press conference to help them out. But when it fails, who's going to fall back on?
Well, I think that right now he needs to establish authority, and that is, look at me. I'm the head coach. You know, when I worked out with Deshaun, between the two of us, it stays between Deshaun and I, because I need you guys to know that I am the head coach. And I'm talking to his players right now. His players listen to press conferences. I need you to know it's not Deshaun's offense. All right, this is my offense. I'm the head coach, and if he doesn't do that, he's just setting himself up for failure of authority. And for me, so what I'm saying is to be this constructive criticism and absolutely telling to the truth that Ren Baker and I forgot the first name, Dickey, right? Is the last name, right? Is the guy that's the consultant. Okay, they need to get with him and coach him up on what he should be saying and what he shouldn't be saying. Okay. Would you agree with that?
You're correct about the authority thing. He has to definitely. It got to be like, even at, you know, high school level, I was like, this is my ship. I'm gonna run it the way I run it, because if it fails, you know what I mean, it's on me. the JV fails and something happens, it's still on me. It's my program. It's the same when I used to go. I went to Morgan. It was his offense. I didn't like his offense, but it's his offense. It's his philosophy. I had to buy into his philosophy. You know what I mean? Didn't mean I agree with everything, but at the end of the day, he was that authority. You know what I mean? So just everywhere you go, you have to be. If you're a head coach, you got to take ownership of what's yours. And right now, this basketball team is yours. Offensive and defensive, recruiting, all that stuff. Everything is yours.
Yes.
There's no blame on the kids. There's no blame. Kids not playing well, it's my fault. I didn't prepare them enough. You know what I mean? I didn't do this and you know what I mean? Because you can't say, well, we thought he was better. You throwing your kid on the bus. You know what I mean? He didn't shoot the ball well. You know, he'll shoot it better. Give him confidence. You know what I mean? You gotta be that authority figure all the time. You know, if you get stumped in questions, you know what I mean? Just like ask, can you come back to it and come back, you know, then think about it and come back to it. But like, don't push it on nobody else. Take ownership for what you're going to do, how you want to do things, and how you want things to work. You know what I mean? So right now, at the beginning, everything is positive. Oh, we had a great practice. We're out there working hard. Some things we need to work on, but we are pushing through. The guys are getting better every day. What's wrong with that?
And they're busting their hump, and they're giving their best, and they're all eager to be successful, and to do what's going to make them successful. But again, I'm just saying this for one last time. It's the only last time I'm going to make this point. All right, because I know this because I've been a head coach, and when you're a head coach, as you have been, DP, I'm not taking that away from you. But what I'm saying is that if when it goes negative and you don't have that single authority, your assistants will then take that away from you, maybe not even knowing, right? So you got to make sure that they're all on board, knowing who's the boss. Not I talked about spacing here because he was in the NBA or whatever it was. No, you can't have that. It's got to be, this is my ship. Yes, we all talk as a staff because that's what we do. That's what staffs do, and they all have input. Yes, but this is my show, and none of you better know anything different other than that, and you better be telling that to the players. And that's the biggest downfall I see right now is that if you don't establish that, you never will. Not here, not at this place, not at this time.
Yeah. Big John Thompson told me a couple things, not much, but a couple things. He said it should be one voice. Mm-hmm. You're only supposed to hear one voice. He said, if you want to make a correction, you go to the player and be quiet. Or, you know, sometimes I go to John, can I say, and I'll say something to him, you know what I mean? And he'll make the adjustment. Not me. He'll make the adjustment. You know what I mean? Once the team was established and I was allowed to do that, then he'll let me do it. Just like Huggy gave Coach Harrison that authority to do all that stuff before, then try to take it back when things wasn't going well. So, you know what I mean? But, you know, you got to have, at the beginning, it has to be Coach Eilert. It has to be Josh. Yes. You know what I mean? He has to be, everything is his. From the managers, the secretaries, you know what I mean? Like everything, the facility, everything has to be his. So, and it has to be done the way he wants it done.
All right.
Even game day operations.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. And listen, man, I got a rope, DP, you know, WVU Hall of Fame basketball player. You know how much I love you, brother. But I'm kicking you off the show because we got to move on. Yeah, we got to get going. I got another pro coming in right now, man, and his name is Steven Johnson. So I appreciate you, man. Great hour talking hoops. I can't wait till we start that back up again.
I can't wait either, my man.
And stop avoiding me. Stop avoiding
I gotta come to I want to come to a live football game, but them hotel prices are off the hook.
Well, you always got my place to stay. All right, brother. Take care, man. All right, Darryl Prue. Man, I tell you, he just laid it straight out. That's what I love about the show is the guys that I bring on, they just tell you the truth no matter what. It's not the company line. It's not the idiot line. It's right there in the middle where the truth usually is just about there. As much as we try to see it and know it and to be fair. All right, everybody. Well, listen, I got a great guest right now, and he's from the Fort Worth, the Star Telegram, and he's a TCU beat writer. Stephen Johnson, he's award-winning. Let's welcome him to the show, the WolfMan's Call. Hello, Stephen. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Hey, how hot is it down there in Texas, Fort Worth?
Technically, it's cooling off. I think it's in the 90s right now, but man, it's hot down here, even as we get closer to October.
Yeah, there's no doubt. When does it actually cool down to where it's pleasant? Like, because the game's at 8 o'clock at night. How hot will it be there?
It should be fine at 8 o'clock tonight. I mean, 8 o'clock on Saturday night. It'll probably be maybe in the 80s, maybe high 70s. That'll be perfect football weather. So West Virginia, the temperature probably won't be an issue for West Virginia this weekend, I don't imagine.
Okay, very good. Well, okay, so I said you're award-winning reporter. You're TCU beat writer for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. You've been around to some other places, but you just recently started hanging out and doing the full TCU thing, right?
Yep, I got here in July before last season. So Sonny Dykes' first year was my first year, and obviously, I guess I got perfect timing, man. I got here at the right time. Obviously, TCU was not only great, but if you heard some of the stories about Gary Patterson and media access, that could probably be another topic for another day. So I came here at the right time. They're pretty good, and actually they're pretty open with their program as well, too.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. You know, that's true about Gary Patterson because I've heard some stories. Let me ask you this. How good of a singer and guitar player was he? How good?
Not sure. I honestly haven't heard much about it. Like I said, I got here after he left, and I think so much of they were very appreciative, obviously, what Gary did. Gary helped put that school on the map, not only athletically, but also academically. We know what sports can do for the academic side of your program, but you could tell they were ready for a change. And obviously, it's kind of it's worked out pretty well. They had a great season last year, and they're off to a pretty good start this year.
All right, very good. All right, so listen, you can follow at Stephen M. Johnson on Twitter, at Stephen M. Johnson. He had a great article yesterday about why this offense of TCU is not satisfied. And go ahead if you want to just start out. Let's start out with the offense. And you're looking at this, and you're seeing 500 yards per game, 38 points scored, per game. The defense, doing some good things as well. But offensively, let's start focusing on that. Stephen, tell me what you see there, how you think they've gotten better since, I don't know, I guess maybe Colorado because they lost it, but they still put up 42 points. So they obviously scored they're still scoring a lot of points.
So obviously, if you look at TCU's numbers, for the most part, they're top 25 in almost every major offensive metric. I think they're number 24 in scoring offense, number 11 in rushing offense, number 11 in total offense, excuse me. And I think they're top 20 in rushing. So moving the ball hasn't been an issue for this team. And obviously, like I said, you see 38 points per game. But the reason they're not satisfied is because they feel like they should be averaging close to 50 points per game. And the one area I think this offense has struggled in, if I'm West Virginia in particular, it's the one area I'm trying to circle in where I want to kind of stand up and bow up is in the red zone. That's where TCU goes from being among the country's elite to, I want to say they're 107 in scoring opportunities in the red zone, where they're only scoring, I think, less than 75% of the time. So red zone execution is, I think, the only thing that's kind of holding this offense back from going from good to great. They had a couple turnovers. The reason they lost to Colorado was because they threw 2 interceptions in the end zone. Now, you can't do that against a good team, and you saw what Colorado was able to do. They had another one against Houston, had another red zone turnover against Nicholls. So I think the biggest thing that they saw last week against SMU was the fact they had a clean game with no turnovers, but even then they still left some points on the board. So right now they're an offense that honestly they have a new starter at quarterback, new starter at running back, bunch of new starters all over the board, and a new offensive coordinator. And they're still putting up good numbers, yet they still feel like there's still more to go. So they're hoping that they can take another step, even though they're going up against a pretty good defense on Saturday.
Yeah, let's talk about Chandler Morris. I mean, 4 games he's played. He's 98 and 142. He does have 3 picks, but he's also got 9 TDs, averaging around 280 yards per game. What's his story?
I think so. A lot of people may forget, but he was the guy that was supposed to be the starter last year. Then the first game against Colorado, I believe it's the third quarter. It's just a routine scramble. Sprains his knee. Opens the door for Max Duggan, and we know what type of year he had. Yeah. So he comes back, and now it's his turn to run the offense. But obviously, like I was saying, he has a bunch of new people around him. He has a bunch of new receivers, bunch of new offensive linemen, new offensive coordinator. So there's been some growing pains, I think, initially, especially in that Colorado game where he does some good things, but he does have those costly turnovers. But I think each week you're seeing him get a little bit better, a little bit steadier. He's seeing the field a little bit better. And I think the thing that's kind of been unlocked the last couple games is his ability to move the chains as a runner. He's not the power runner that Max is, but I think just as a scrambler, because he hits his top speed really quickly, I should say that. So if he touches the ball, he brings it down. He hits top gear pretty quickly, man. And I think they're kind of leaning into that a little bit more. And I think he's a guy, he's getting more rhythm. He's using his feet. I think he's closer to being the back 100% mentally. Physically, he's there, but he kind of talked about how he didn't trust his knee in that first game against Colorado. He didn't trust it to kind of take off and pick up some of those first downs. So now he's starting to evolve. And I think right now, I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the Big 12, and he's still, like the rest of the offense, he still has some room for improvement. But I think right now they've been pleased by what they've had, and I think he's kind of getting more mature and he's getting more steady. No turnovers last week, which is big for them.
Yeah, certainly big for that. No turnovers. You get the goose egg. Talk about Kendall Briles. And I remember I was broadcasting for WVU back when his dad was at Baylor and Kendall was there, and now he's been in 4 different spots, and it seems to me like he's really matured and he's putting up big numbers. You can't deny.
Yeah, obviously, his track record speaks for itself. The hire was a bit controversial when he got here. Obviously, coming from Baylor, and obviously they had that scandal back there. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of fighting this, I don't want to say an unwinnable battle. There's always going to be a segment of the TCU fan base that I don't know if it ever is going to fully warm up to him. But I think overall, he had big shoes to fill with Gary Riley going to Clemson and all the starters gone off to the NFL at graduation. And I think, like I said, so far he's been doing a good job. I think the only really real complaint you can really have about the offense is sometimes they get a little too cute, and I think that also leads to some of their struggles in the red zone. Like there was one possession last week against SMU where, you get inside the 20-yard line, and instead of running right at them, you run a sweep with Savion Williams, and maybe you lose a yard or two. Now you're behind the chains, and then boom, you got to settle for a field goal. So sometimes I think he's still learning his personnel, just like they're learning him and learning the scheme. But overall, you have to be encouraged, man, when you're averaging close to 40 points and over 500 yards per game in this portion of the season.
It's funny because I wouldn't have thought, again, I think if I go back to Art Briles, and he always ran the ball, but he put up great receiving numbers and throwing numbers as well. His team, I should talk about or say that about. And here, there's no doubt when you have, Imani Bailey and Chandler Morris at 6 yards per rush, you guys at TCU is committed to running the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Imani Bailey is currently leading the Big 12 in rushing right now. And this was a guy last year. This was how special TCU's backfield was. They had 2 NFL backs in Kendre Miller and Amari DiMercato. Yeah. Then they had Bailey last year, who led the conference in rushing yards per carry. Obviously, it was a small sample size. So now it's his running back room. It's his time now. He sees the opportunity. 3 100-yard rushing game in the first 4 games of the season, man. He runs hard. He's only 5'9", man, but he's a load to bring down. He's explosive when and once he sees the hole, he hits it. That's my favorite thing about him as a running back. There's no tiptoeing. Once he sees that gap, he's going through at full speed. I think TCU's offensive line, it's another area. They're not as great as last year. There have been some growing pains and new starters, but overall, they've been kind of moving people out of the way, establishing a run game. So I think right now, and like you kind of said, the Browns offense, people see the vertical shots and all the points, and they think it's a high-flying offense. But everything they kind of do is predicated off of having a strong run game, the RPOs and all that nature. So TCU still has one of the top rushing attacks in the country. I think Imani Bailey could be kind of one of the keys to the game on Saturday.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about your tight end. I know he's pretty strong, and, West Virginia has a good tight end, but how much is the tight end involved in the game?
He is definitely involved a lot in the red zone and on third downs. I think they're still trying to find ways to get him the ball even more. It's a big target, 6'6", 250. Obviously leads the team in touchdown catches, and he's going to be Chandler Morris's favorite red zone target. I think he could be a guy that could see his draft stock kind of go up just off his measurables and things of that nature. With him, you just want to see him continue to play with his frame. Play like you're 6'6", and that means high pointing the ball, being a little bit more physical as a blocker. But Jared Wiley, he's on pace to have a career year, man, and he's enjoying a lot of success in the Kendall Browns offense.
Yeah, looking at this film, I thought he stood out some for sure. There's some really nice things. Okay, so when you look at this, let me ask you this pointer. How much will they move the pocket with Chandler Morris? Will just be out straight drop back, or will you see them attack the perimeter, roll it out a little bit, and do things like that?
I think if they attack the perimeter, it'll be more so when Chandler is improvising. I don't think the play action bootlegs and things of that nature haven't been a big part of the offense so far, but obviously they're still installing new stuff every week. I don't think they put in the full offense. But I think what you will see, they will try to attack the perimeter of the West Virginia defense in different ways. They'll try to get some of their sweeps going, the jet sweeps, some tosses and things of that nature. But in terms of the passing game, it's pretty much drop backs, where there's going to be a quick screen pass or a 3-step drop. So yeah, I think it'll be a little bit more traditional in that sense, but TCU is going to go extremely fast with the pace of the offense.
I see that, JP Richardson is receiver that's leading, and he doesn't have any touchdowns, but he's leading in receptions along with Jared Wiley. What's this receiving core like? Because West Virginia has a receiving core that's right now kind of not doing much. And I think you guys are in this kind of the same situation with a whole bunch of new receivers, but you're making impressions and they're making catches.
Well, the thing about TCU is they've been rotating so many guys that I think they're starting to get to the point where they're finally starting to finalize on those. Maybe there's 6 or 7 top guys. So I think that there's plenty of talent. I like TCU's receivers. I just think they need to – the coaching staff is still trying to figure out the hierarchy. They've had a couple of guys get dinged up. As for JP Richardson, he's an Oklahoma State transfer last year. I believe he was top 2 in touchdown catches for them. Yes. So he's a really good slot receiver. He's been dealing with some injuries, but he's one of those guys where 9 times out of 10, the ball hits his hand, he's going to catch it. He has good speed. He can stretch the field from the slot, and he's another guy that they'll be trying to be creative with in the ways they get in the ball. He might get it on the sweep. He might get it on the screen or something of that nature. So right now, I would probably say he's TCU's best receivers, and the numbers aren't impressive. But the thing is, man, TCU has had, I want to say almost every game this year, 8 or 9 guys have caught a pass every single game, man. So that's kind of one of the reasons you're not seeing those big, 100-yard receiving games like we were seeing from Quentin Johnston last year.
If TCU is going to try to stretch it out of play, what receiver is going to do that? Is it going to be Richardson?
I think they wanted to be Jalen Robinson. Robinson was a UCF transfer, went to Ole Miss for a year as well, too. When he's at his peak, man, he's probably the fastest guy on the team. So I think right now, honestly, the vertical passing game is probably the one thing TCU hasn't been great on. Mm-hmm. They're really great, obviously, kind of in that intermediate range, but they're still working on hitting some of those deep balls. So Jalen Robinson, he hit a long one to Warren Thompson, but if you kind of see it, they haven't hit those, 40-plus, 50-plus yard bombs just yet. So that's honestly another area of the offense they want to improve in. But the guy that I think they will look at to stretch the field will probably be Jalen Robinson.
Fast, I bet. All right, so let's go ahead and move it on over to the defense. If you can, Stephen, describe this defense for us, because it's not the 3-3 stack that West Virginia used a decade ago. This is a different 3-3-5 with 3 safeties, a little bit like Iowa State does a little bit, but it's different still. It's their own knack. And go ahead and break it down for me if you can.
Well, the 3-3-5, obviously, they keep their 3 linebackers on the field. They keep 3 safeties on the field, Mark Perry, Bud Clark, and Josh Foster. So, to me, it's a defense, the way TCU runs it, they like to do a lot of drop and aid in coverage and really making the quarterback have to fit balls into tight windows. Preston Stone from SMU really struggled with that. Sometimes it's really good against the run. I'll say that. TCU is one of the top rushing defenses in the country. They've really done a good job of not letting teams kind of dictate and kind of establish their will on the ground. But with the passing game, at times, even though TCU leads the Power 5 teams in sacks, it's almost feast and famine a little bit. Whereas when they only rush 3, it's either they're getting back there and getting the sack, or he has a lot of time to throw, which can put a lot of stress on the secondary at times. But I think right now, when you look at what they did against Colorado to what they've been doing now, they've only allowed 2 offensive touchdowns in the last 3 games. And one of those touchdowns came in garbage time against SMU when the game was decided in the 4th quarter. So right now they're tackling better. They're getting after the quarterback a lot better. and you're seeing less coverage breakdowns in the secondary. So kind of like West Virginia, they're starting to play their best ball. This is the defense that brought back 7 to 8 starters from last year's team. So this is what they thought they were going to see in game one. Obviously, it didn't happen like that. But they've gotten better, man. They're starting to get more confidence and starting to play like the defense that they expected to be.
Yeah, with all the sacks that you guys are experiencing, is it just the 3-man, or are they doing all kinds of blitzing and different direction and, not let the quarterback know?
They're starting to be a little bit more in with their blitzes and sending those extra guys, because the problem obviously you saw against Colorado was Shedeur just had too much time to throw. And I think TCU is starting to take more gambles the way they get at the quarterback. But truthfully, a lot of times they're still sending 3, but the way they'll use Jamoy Hodges, he's almost like he's half spy, half delay blitz. So let's say, for example, Garrett Green's able to go on Saturday. If he's dropping back and the initial 3-man rush doesn't get there, but he steps up in the pocket, he looks like he wants to break, Jamoy's going to start flying at him, and then he'll kind of come in as that fourth rusher and kind of come in for a sack or force him back into the defense. So it's about being more creative. Right now, honestly, when they only send 3 guys, Paul Oyewale has probably been the best guy getting to the pass rusher and getting to the quarterback just in those situations. But honestly, you're seeing more blitzes. You're seeing them use kind of delayed linebacker blitzes. And really just if the 3-man cannot get to the quarterback, at least force him out of the pocket to where one of those roaming linebackers kind of come up and make him uncomfortable or get the sack themselves.
Is the secret of the defense the safety? Is it Perry that comes up that he can fill in that box against the run? And so they're only giving up 85 yards a game in the rush. That's huge.
Well, against the run, Mark is probably the key safety. He's the guy that kind of fills in, and he's kind of like that last resort. So he's a great box safety. Against the pass, it's more so of Josh Foster / Miller Bradford. They play what they call the nickel safety spot, which is normally kind of that third corner some teams use. TC obviously use a third safety. So they're the guy they have to help in the run game. They have to match up with the slots. They have to match up with the tight ends. There's a lot of stress on them. So I think that's probably the biggest position. That's the biggest key, because if that position can be attacked in the passing game, that normally means that the middle of the field is open for the opposing offense to kind of do as they please.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know what I love about the defense, and I see with Perry, as the offensive line, when they count up, when the center sits there and points out the mic and they figure out who's in the box, he's out of it. And they can't account for him. That's why I see him coming in as a free hitter a lot. And I think he really does his damage that way. I really think that's what a key to that defense. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when it comes to he really thrives against those teams that like to get physical, that like to try to thrive in the box. He's definitely been one of the leaders of the defense as well. So he was actually a Colorado transfer. So just what he's been able to do, kind of bring that physicality to the back end of the defense. I would probably say he's the best tackler in the secondary for sure. So I expect him to be active, especially on Saturday, especially if West Virginia wants to play in the box.
I believe so. And I think they're going to. There's no doubt about it. They want to run. So when you look at this West Virginia team and you look at they like to run the ball. Even Garrett, I think Garrett is going to be able to play. That's the word right now. I have absolutely no 100%. I'm saying so. That's what I hear. So I think you're going to see both of them, Nico and Garrett, and they're both running quarterbacks. How do you think that they're going to attack the West Virginia offense, knowing that they like their tight end, Cole Taylor, the 6'7" tight end? They like a 12 personnel a lot with 2 tight ends, Traylon Davis on the other side. But they also have not been able to get the receivers going, except for the first game. Devin Carter, the transfer from NC State, he had 6 receptions against Penn State, but no other receiver has really done much besides going against the Duquesne, which is FCS, right? So what do you think, how they're going to go ahead and attack this offense? They're going to try to shut the run down and make Garrett Green or the quarterback beat them in the air? What are they going to do?
Well, I think, that's probably going to be the plan. They want to play physical. TCU, for the most part, they're not really a team that switches up a lot from their alignments. I don't want to say there's going to be a bunch of them just putting 8 guys in the box every play and things like that. You're going to see mostly them in their base defense a lot, 3-3-5. They'll move guys over, but for the most part, you'll see 6 people in the box, and they'll trust their safeties who kind of move around all over the formation to kind of come and help out with the run game. So I think they're going to kind of buckle down on that, CJ Donaldson and the quarterback run game, and force whoever's the quarterback, Garrett or Nico, to drop back and have to kind of dice up their secondary. Shador was able to do that. Other quarterbacks haven't been able to do that so far. Obviously, they're led by Josh Newton, an All-American corner, first team, All Big 12 cornerback. They've gotten some good play at the other cornerback spot with Avery Helm. He's banged up at practice. I'm not sure if he'll go or not. But if not, they have Channing Canada, who was one of the top-rated junior college cornerbacks last year. So they like their depth at cornerback and the way they've been able to play. So I think right now, the best way to attack TCU is really if you can attack them vertically, especially in the seams. I think, if you're going to play in front of them, that's kind of what they want. They've improved their tackling. Colorado was able to exploit it, but truthfully, I don't know if West Virginia has that same type of shifty, explosive receiver type like Colorado that can, force all those missed tackles. So I think TCU, the game plan is going to keep everything in front of them. And I think if they're able to do that, they feel like they have a good chance of keeping West Virginia in check, say 20 points or less.
Yeah, I understand. That's what I would do. Honestly, that's certainly what I would do. All right, so flip it on to the other side, and how is the offense going to attack this West Virginia defense? That's, I think, they're number 5 in the nation on third downs, getting off the field, and they played well. Penn State, I didn't think they played that well. They gave up 322 yards in the secondary. I'm looking there at your quarterback, 69% completion percentage. He's just moving on. He's getting better and better each week. How do you think they're going to attack this defense, where the defensive line has stepped up the last 3 games against, especially Pitt and Texas Tech?
Well, they're going to try to establish the ground game as well, too. They want to get Imani Bailey going. They want him to kind of be the focal point of the offense and kind of get it going at first, too. But then I think with Chandler Morris, you're going to see TCU is number 3, I think, in pace right now. I know Texas Tech goes pretty fast as well, too, but obviously they had the injury last Saturday. So TCU wants to put stress on the defense by going fast, having West Virginia on its heels, and not being able to know how they're going to attack them. Are they going to hand it off to Imani? Are they going to run a screen? Are they going to take a vertical shot or something of that nature? So Kendall Bryce has been very creative. I think it's just about him being a bit more selective when he tries to reach into that bag, that creative bag, and create those openings and things of that nature. So I think, but TCU wants to stress the defense on the perimeter and right up the middle with the ground game. And TCU, I think TCU has confidence. There's a lot of respect for West Virginia. Like Sonny Dice said himself, he doesn't see any weaknesses in the West Virginia defense. So they're expecting the challenge, but they also think if they can play their game, have another clean game, they'll be able to put up some points, enough points to get out with the victory. And I think third down is going to be key. Can TCU's top 50 in third down, so they're above average, but obviously West Virginia is elite in that category. We talked about the red zone issues earlier. So is TCU able to sustain those drives once they get past midfield, once they get to West Virginia 40-yard line? Or are they having to settle for these long field goals? Are they having to settle for punts in West Virginia territory? That, to me, is going to be the key to the game, because I think if West Virginia can make TCU settle for 3, and let's say TCU gets to the red zone 4 times in the first half, and they had to kick field goals 3 at a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a situation where West Virginia can kind of hang around in the game, where honestly you're in the 4-quarter game. It's a 1-score game, and I think that's all you can really ask for if you're West Virginia.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, real quickly, tell us about Sandy. He's been there for 100 years. He's 30 years old, but he's an Australian punter, just like West Virginia has with Oliver Straw. And but Sandy, he's been really good.
Yeah, Sandy is actually older than me, so but he's a pretty good punter. They trust him. He's reliable. Special team as a whole has been pretty good to TCU. Griffin Kell, I think, is one of the better kickers in the Big 12. Usually reliable up to, I think, about 47, 48. He can hit at 50 if need be. In the return game, Major Everhart and JoJo Earl have shown flashes, both as kick returner and punt returners. They're not as good as they were last year when they had Darius Davis, but Darius Davis was the best returner in the country. So special teams has been a plus for TCU, and it's normally an area they think can usually give them an edge against opponents.
All right. So here's the question now. How do you see this going down Saturday night, 8:00? Stephen, you've watched a lot of TCU. You know a little bit about West Virginia. Can the defense and compete with this TCU offense?
I think West Virginia will probably do enough to keep this one a game late into the second half. But I just think it's hard for me to see I question if West Virginia has the firepower to really challenge the TCU defensively. And when I say challenge, I think West Virginia will score, not saying TCU will shut them out. But the teams that really have kind of decimated this TCU 3-5 defense have had explosive receivers, an explosive passing game, or really some more dynamic weapons. I don't know if West Virginia has that per se. So especially this year, and the way TCU's playing on defense, I kind of see TCU pulling it out 30-17, where they get a late touchdown, where it's kind of one of those games where West Virginia's kind of frustrated them. They have to settle for field goals, but they finally have kind of that put-away drive somewhere in the fourth quarter to kind of put the Mountaineers away.
All right. Well, you called it like you saw it, man. So I appreciate that. You telling us how you do it, and you gave us some great insight to the Horned Frogs there. And I'll tell you what, there was a sub shop right on the outside of the stadium there, and I can't think of it. It was the main strip, and it was like most incredible. It was called Fatties or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not familiar with it, but I'll have my eye out for it when I go out there on Saturday.
I'll tell you what, it was great, man. Anyways, all right, Stephen Johnson, thank you so much for your time, TCU Beat Writer. You can go ahead, and it's at Stephen M. Johnson _.
Appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, sir. All right. Well, that was pretty good, huh? I mean, he told it like he saw it, and we'll see about that score and see if that actually comes to fruition, because it's West Virginia, and they've been surprising a lot this year, and of course that's a good deal. That's a good deal that West Virginia is ready to fight. So, anybody want to jump on? Anybody had predictions? This is Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, we got Cover 2 data coming out. I got Kevin Koken's going to come on, break it down. Obviously, I'm going to have film to break down, and we'll go over this defense and offense of TCU and special teams with a fine-tooth pick, right? Is that what they say, fine-tooth pick? I think it's something like that. Anyways, I'll tell you, what a great show, though. DP here, Darryl Prue, great to have him back. Anybody want to go ahead and jump on? Tell me if you want to, because I'm going to drop the link, copy it, and let me paste it right there, man. So it's out. All right, Mike Rounds, 35, TCU 32. Mike, let me ask you a question. What did you think of his breakdown? Talk to me there. What did you think of Stephen Johnson? He knows TCU, man. He knows them well, and I'll tell you what, the secret to their defense is Perry. Number 3, the safety, is that you can't account for him in the run game because he's out there. He's not in the box, but he gets in that box. They're only giving up 85 yards a game rushing, but also you got to look at who they played. Obviously Colorado does not run the ball a lot with Shedeur there, and you look at the other ones, Nickel State and SMU, whatever. SMU is still SMU right now. They are not ACC level, in my opinion, Power 5 ready yet. They will be. I think they're going to be a good team. They're going to have a lot of talent, but obviously TCU put down SMU pretty strong last week. Mike Rose, I think he's really honest. Okay, well, all right. What do you mean by honest? I'm not trying to make you tight more, but honest. Do you think he's right? Do you think he's telling you what you think about this West Virginia team? What do you think, Mike Rounds? Or where's Timothy? Where anybody out there? What do you think of that breakdown that Stephen Johnson just gave? Because I want to know. And I want to know what you think is going to be the score. You say WVU 35, TCU 32. Here's the problem. If you get up into 35, I think that's going to be a problem for WVU. I think West Virginia, 24 or less, if they want to win this game, they're going to hold this TCU defense to 17 or less, maybe even 20. I'll give you 20, right? But what I'm saying is, I think 35, scoring 35 points for WVU at this stage with Garrett Green being out, Nico. I mean, I don't even think they really give the opportunity. Well, you know what? It's not even Garrett Green or Nico. To me, it's the receivers. All right? I mean, yeah, okay. Clement had a great game against Duquesne. I understand that. And I think he's going to be a fabulous, fabulous receiver. And I love the young man. Love him. But this is big time now. okay? This is TCU. Because these guys, I think, are going to do the same thing, and they're going to try to shut down that run and make the quarterback beat them. I would do it. That's what I would do. I would take away the best thing you do, and that is run the ball. And then I would go ahead and put somebody on Cole Taylor. I would put somebody on Cole Taylor. These receivers have to show up, and they have to come out and perform. Carter, all those guys. All right, I'm thinking of Cortez Bryant. It's time, man. It is time to come on out and do it. And Mike Rose, no, I think he's just like all the rest of us. He's guessing. I'm not guessing, Mike. All right, I'm not. Honestly, what I think is tomorrow. And so don't miss the breakdown tomorrow. It's Friday. It's an hour and a half into the show, folks, and no one's jumping on. And I think Mike thinks I'm a guesser anyways. He doesn't like my crystal ball, the helmet right there. So I'm going to have to go ahead and go right to the network, man. Do the network. There you go. And I didn't even get to do my Neil Brown stuff, so I guess I'm going to have to save that a little bit for tomorrow. That's what I say about having your own show, though. You can do what you want to do, and you want to do things, and sometimes you get a chance, sometimes it doesn't. I thought I let the conversation go longer with Darryl Prue because I think DP's got a ton of information. I love him in basketball, and I'm going to tell you this. I know people is like, Wolf, you're football. Now, I know sports. I know basketball extremely well. Even Bob Huggins knows that I know basketball. And the fact that, in fact, Ronnie Everhart used to give me the game scouting reports. Yeah, back in the day. We're talking about way back when we had the first show 10, 12 years ago. And obviously Hugs let him do that, but he'd give you this report so I could do it for the show that we had right there at the basketball facility. Lacey Neff, God rest his soul. Lacey and I did the show there. It was about Keglers. It was a great show. I loved it. Loved it. And now, of course, we have this here being the network. God bless you, Lacey. I miss you to death, man. I miss you so much, brother. And so we'll go ahead with WolfMan's Call Network. Start off with Brickside Bar and Grille, Rob Davis. ETH Local, over 30 taps. Love it in Bridgeport there. Man, to go in there and say, hey, Wolfman was like, give me that Philly cheesesteak, whatever that great sandwich I had the last time I was there. You go down there, you got Mel, you got a tap house there, right on Oakland Street there, right where all the dorms are, dormitories there. And I know that they're doing great. Right above the Parmar store. That is right there on Oakland Street. So, Melissa, treat her well, everybody, because she's a great gal. And Route 22 Sports Bar in Weirton, West Virginia. Boy, they got some cool things. They got the bottoms-up draft. They got the 12 50-inch TVs. Big Steelers people. Yeah, I like that. Big Mountaineers. Yeah, you got to like it all, man. So, very, very cool. Route 22 Sports Bar. I can't wait to get up there. And then, of course, you have Jimbo's Place. So nice they did it twice. One in Elkins, one in Buckhannon. Jimmy Pointer. Good guys. And we opened up the one in Buckhannon. First day of opening. We were there broadcasting. Had a great time. You look at it, you got Legend Sports Bar and Grill. And out there, Cheat Lake. Lakeview Golf Resort. And Aaron Gizzy, my buddy out there. He's also the Secretary for Special Olympics, West Virginia. We do the polar plunge. Team Wolfman, get ready to support that, please, because we're going to need you. We're going to need you because Special Olympics counts on these polar plunges every year for their big finances. And then you got the Pitch Sports Bar and Grill down in Dunbar, West Virginia. Absolutely love it. Love the prime rib. Love all that they do. And I know that Chef Paul down there, he's working really hard for everybody to enjoy their experience at the Pitch. And then you got the Mason Jar Barbecue and more. Steve Reese, appreciate you down there in Fairmont. And boy, I tell you, the barbecue, absolutely crazy. He goes out and he cooks out there at Milan Milan Park. And then he does the home games as well. Look for it, man, the Mason Jar Barbecue and more. And then we got the jar. You can see the jar down here. restaurant and hot spot. They're taking over the Mason Jar there right in Morgantown. They're doing their thing. They're kicking it up, doing a great job. Appreciate it that they stayed on with WolfMan's Call Network and watching it right there on the YouTube. Make sure you sign up on YouTube as well. Cantrell's River City Grill and Pub down in Hinton, West Virginia. I always say Hinton like that because it's easier to say when I do it that way. Love it. Right on the river, man. Love the scenery, all the things. Can't wait. Can't wait to eat some seafood down there and enjoy that experience. Then you got Daddy's down there in Princeton. Some of the best fans of Mountaineers right there. They all hang out, watch it 4 some hours away, and they are loyal as loyal can be. And then you have Calacino's Pizzeria and Sports Bar right there in Beckley, and the za is wonderful. Mountaineers, man, right there in Beckley, hanging out right there at Calacino's. And of course, you got Archies up in Pittsburgh on East Carson Street. The wings, everything is cool. East Carson Street is cool in the city of Pittsburgh, and Archies is a big part of that street. So again, enjoy when you're up there, and hey, check out the WolfMan's Call. Watch it. Get there around 4:00. And the last but not least, we have. Well, I have 2 more actually. The Pallet at Scott Depot, Tays Valley, Haley, everybody down there did the pregame for Penn State. Loved it. Great place to hang out. It's kind of a lounge area and specialty craft beers. Awesome, cool place. It's chill, man. And then, of course, last but not least, we'll say Kegler Sports Bar and Grille right there in Motown and getting it done, man. Really appreciate it, Jerry, Greg, and Steve Lorenz. Just family, man. Just family. Dougie Moore, all that. Okay, everybody. Well, that is the WolfMan's Call Network. Big shout out to everybody there. And let's see. Oh, Mike Rollins. Wait a minute. I'm going to get you on here. You say, I'll give my real predictions tomorrow. All right. So there you go. Because you weren't guessing, right? You were not guessing. I think that's funny. Guessing like all of us. All right. Let me make sure I get here. Hey, who's the best center in the country? Do I need to say it anymore? Best center in the country? I don't think so. I think it's got to be the one, the only, Zach Frazier.
Hi, I'm Zach Frazier from Fairmont. When I'm back home, you'll find me at my local Parmar store.
We have that gold and blue pride at your local Parmar store. We are coming to your neighborhood soon. West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, we have you covered. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Food, gas, groceries, and more, we are gold and blue proud, and we are Parmar stores.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Buzzballs, ready-to-drink cocktails. #1 single-serve premix brand in the U.S. Buzzballs. Have a ball. Stationers, #1 office supplier in West Virginia. Always in stock. Call Mini, the anywhere, anytime chargers, powering a connected world. Never buy AA batteries again. Rechargeable 500 times plus. Call Mini AA USB lithium battery, as easy to charge as your cell phone. Sustainable energy. Stay charged. Go green, save green. Feel the power of Paw. Order now at pawmini.com.
West Virginia United.